Have you ever asked ChatGPT a question and felt like you were talking to something intelligent? Like there's actually someone or something understanding you on the other side? Everyone says AI is thinking, learning, becoming conscious. But here's what nobody tells you about what's actually happening inside these systems. AI isn't thinking at all. Not in any way that resembles human thought. It's doing something completely different, something that looks like thinking from the outside, but is fundamentally just incredibly sophisticated pattern matching. In the next 15 minutes, you're going to understand exactly what AI is actually doing when it seems to understand you, why calling it thinking is like calling a calculator good at math, and how this changes everything about the AI revolution everyone's talking about. Here's what's really happening when you interact with ChatGPT or any AI system. You type in a question. The AI responds with something that makes perfect sense. It feels conversational, natural, like you're chatting with someone who gets what you're asking. So your brain automatically assumes there's understanding happening. There must be thoughts forming, plans being made, meaning being grasped. Picture this scenario. You're using ChatGPT to help plan a trip to Tokyo. You ask about the best neighborhoods to stay in. The AI gives you detailed recommendations with reasons. You ask about budget. It adjusts its suggestions. You mention you love ramen. Suddenly it's recommending specific ramen spots in each neighborhood. This back and forth feels like talking to a knowledgeable friend. How could it not be thinking? Think about it this way. When your friend recommends a restaurant, they're drawing on memories of eating there. They're imagining your tastes. They're reasoning about what you'd enjoy. There's actual thought happening. But when AI recommends that ramen spot, something completely different is occurring. Something that produces similar outputs through a totally different process. And here's the wild part. Even the engineers who built these systems can't fully explain how they arrive at specific outputs. Everyone tells you AI is getting smarter and will soon be conscious. But that's not what actually happens. What really happens is that we're building systems that are incredibly good at mimicking the outputs of intelligence without having any of the internal experience we associate with thinking. It's like the difference between a parrot saying, "I love you," and a person saying it. The sounds are the same, the meaning behind them is entirely different. And this matters because we're making massive decisions about AI based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what these systems are. We're worried about AI becoming conscious and taking over when that's not even on the table. Meanwhile, the actual risks, bias, misinformation, job displacement get less attention because we're distracted by science fiction scenarios. Understanding what AI actually does changes how you think about everything from ChatGPT to self-driving cars to AI art. It's not just about technology. It's about recognizing pattern matching dressed up as understanding. The AI industry is now worth over $200 billion globally. ChatGPT gained 100 million users in just 2 months. But if you asked most of those users what's actually happening when they chat with AI, they couldn't tell you. They'd say something vague about computers being really smart now. But that's like saying your car is really good at wanting to go places. No, it's good at moving when you press the gas pedal. Big difference. So let me show you something. There's this principle I call the statistical parrot effect, and it's the key to understanding what AI really does. Modern AI, specifically large language models like ChatGPT, works by predicting the most statistically likely next word based on patterns it's seen in massive amounts of text. That's it. No understanding. No reasoning, just pattern matching at an unbelievable scale. Here's how it actually works. You type, "The capital of France is," and the AI looks at billions of examples where those words appeared in its training data. In almost every case, the next word was Paris. So it predicts Paris, not because it knows what France is or what a capital means, because the pattern in the data overwhelmingly points to that word coming next. It's like a super advanced autocomplete on your phone, except instead of learning from just your texts, it learned from basically the entire internet. This matters because it means AI has no concept of truth or meaning. It's just really good at predicting what word typically comes next in similar contexts. When ChatGPT tells you the capital of France is Paris, it's not retrieving a fact it understands. It's completing a pattern it's seen thousands of times. This is why AI confidently makes up fake information, what we call hallucinations. If the pattern suggests a plausible sounding answer, AI will generate it even if it's completely wrong, because it can't tell the difference between true and false. It only knows likely and unlikely. Think about when Netflix recommends a show to you. Netflix doesn't understand your taste in entertainment. It just knows that people who watch the same shows you watched also watch this other show. The recommendation works without Netflix having any concept of what makes a show good or why you like certain things. Same with AI responses. They work without the AI understanding anything. Pure pattern recognition producing useful outputs. Your brain struggles with this because you can't imagine producing language without understanding it. When you say, "I'm hungry," you actually feel hunger. You understand what food is. You're expressing a genuine internal state. But AI can generate "I'm hungry" based purely on patterns in text where that phrase appeared, with zero internal experience of hunger or food or desire. The output looks the same, the process is fundamentally alien, but here's where it gets interesting. This pattern matching approach is why AI can do things that seem impossible. It can write code, translate languages, explain complex topics, even generate images. Not because it understands coding, language, or images. Because it's learned the statistical patterns that connect inputs to outputs in ways that produce results humans recognize as correct or useful or creative. Pay attention to this. When you ask AI to write a poem about heartbreak, it's not feeling heartbreak or thinking about emotional expressions. It's predicting word sequences that typically appear in texts labeled as heartbreak poems. The pattern includes words like tears, empty, shattered, alone, arranged in structures that resemble poetry. The AI generates this without any concept of sadness or loss. Yet the output moves you because it matches patterns humans associate with those emotions. Now, this next pattern is particularly sneaky because it involves how we anthropomorphize AI. There's this thing I call the consciousness projection trap. It's when we see human-like behavior and automatically assume human-like thinking. When AI gives helpful answers, cracks jokes, or apologizes for mistakes, we treat it like a person. We say it knows things or understands us. But that's our brain doing what it evolved to do, seeing agency and intention everywhere. This happens in our conversations with Alexa, Siri, ChatGPT. They're designed to sound conversational and helpful, which triggers our social instincts. We evolved to detect minds behind behaviors. When something responds to us in human language, our brain automatically models it as having thoughts and feelings. But that's projection. The AI has no more inner experience than your calculator does when it knows that 2 + 2 = 4. And here's what makes this even more surprising. The engineers building these systems use techniques called neural networks, inspired by how brains work. But inspired by doesn't mean works like. A neural network is just math, millions of calculations adjusting numerical weights based on patterns in data. There are no thoughts happening, no understanding forming, just numbers being crunched in ways that happen to produce outputs that look intelligent. Think of it like this. A chess computer can beat any human player. It looks at millions of possible moves and picks the statistically best one based on patterns it learned from analyzing thousands of games. Does the chess computer understand chess? Does it experience the thrill of a clever strategy? No. It's running calculations. The output brilliant chess moves emerges from statistical analysis, not understanding. AI is the same, just applied to language and images instead of chess moves. And if you think that's wild, check this out. AI doesn't even process information the way you're imagining. When ChatGPT reads your question, it's not reading in any meaningful sense. Your words get converted to numbers vectors in high-dimensional space. The AI performs mathematical operations on these numbers. The results get converted back to words. At no point is there comprehension. Just numerical transformations that happen to correspond to meaningful language because that's what the training data taught it. This is why AI can simultaneously seem incredibly smart and incredibly stupid. It can write a brilliant essay about quantum physics but can't reliably count the number of letters in a word. Because it's not thinking about quantum physics or letters. It's pattern matching, and some patterns are easier to learn than others. Complex concepts often have clear patterns in how they're discussed. Simple spatial reasoning, like counting, requires understanding that AI doesn't have. Let me blow your mind for a second. Here's the uncomfortable truth about AI that nobody wants to admit. We're building systems that produce the appearance of intelligence without any of the substance. And we're doing it because it turns out the appearance is enough for most tasks. You don't need true understanding to write code or answer questions or summarize documents. You just need to match patterns really, really well. What's actually happening is that we've discovered intelligence might be more about pattern recognition than we thought. Maybe human thinking is also more pattern matching based than we'd like to admit. When you instantly recognize your friend's face, you're not reasoning through facial features. Your brain is matching a pattern. When you finish someone's sentence, you're predicting likely words based on conversational patterns. The difference is you also have consciousness, subjective experience, genuine understanding. AI has the pattern matching without any of the rest. This isn't about AI being fake or useless. Pattern matching at massive scale is genuinely useful. It's about understanding what we've actually built versus what we imagine we've built. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. Every time AI does something impressive, you'll recognize it as sophisticated autocomplete rather than digital consciousness. The technology is still amazing, but it's amazing in a different way than most people think. And it's the reason why AI safety researchers worry about different things than the public does. The public worries about Terminator scenarios, conscious AI deciding to destroy humanity, but researchers worry about pattern matching systems being deployed at scale without understanding amplifying biases from their training data, generating convincing misinformation, or optimizing for metrics in ways that cause harm. These risks don't require consciousness, just powerful pattern matching aimed at the wrong objectives. Let me tell you about two companies using AI. We'll call them MediaCo and TechStart. MediaCo's CEO, Jennifer, just learned about ChatGPT. She's amazed. It writes articles that sound human. So she fires half her writing team and has AI generate content instead. Jennifer thinks she's found intelligent writers who work for free. She tells investors the AI understands their audience and knows how to engage readers. But here's what Jennifer doesn't realize. The AI is generating text that matches patterns in writing, but it's making subtle, factual errors, creating articles that sound authoritative but contain misinformation, producing content that's statistically likely but not actually true or useful. Within months, MediaCo's credibility tanks. Readers catch the errors, advertisers leave. Jennifer blamed the AI for not being smart enough, but the AI never claimed to be smart. It's just really good at text patterns. Jennifer mistook pattern matching for understanding. Now, compare that to TechStart. Their founder, Alex, also uses AI for content. But Alex understands what AI actually does. Alex knows it's pattern matching, not thinking. So Alex uses AI as a tool that needs human oversight. AI generates drafts. Humans fact check everything. AI suggests headlines. Humans evaluate if they actually match the content. AI writes code. Humans review it for security issues AI can't conceptually understand. Notice how Alex gets value from AI while Jennifer got burned? That's because Alex treats AI like sophisticated autocomplete that needs verification, while Jennifer treated it like a thinking being that could replace human judgment. Alex knows the AI doesn't understand truth or accuracy or context. It just predicts likely text. So Alex builds workflows that harness that capability while compensating for its limitations. The AI is doing the exact same thing in both cases. The difference is understanding what's actually happening. Here's what most people don't realize. So what's really going on here? It's not actually about AI being intelligent or not. It's about understanding that AI is doing something fundamentally different than thinking pattern matching at a scale that produces outputs that look like understanding. The people who use AI effectively don't treat it as artificial intelligence. They treat it as artificial pattern recognition. And once you see it this way, everything changes. These patterns aren't about AI being good or bad. They're about recognizing that we've built incredibly powerful tools that simulate intelligence without having it. You can't blame AI for being wrong any more than you can blame autocomplete for suggesting the wrong word. It's doing what it was designed to do, predict statistically likely outputs. But now that you understand AI is pattern matching, not thinking, you can use it appropriately while avoiding the trap of anthropomorphizing mathematical processes into minds. So here's what we've uncovered. AI predicts statistically likely outputs based on patterns in massive training data without any understanding of meaning or truth. Neural networks perform mathematical calculations on numerical representations of text, not comprehension of concepts. AI appears intelligent because pattern matching at scale produces human-like outputs through non-human processes. We project consciousness onto AI because our brains evolved to see minds behind behavior, and effective AI use requires understanding its sophisticated autocomplete, not digital thinking. The question isn't whether AI will become conscious and think like humans. That's not what's being built. The question is whether you'll recognize that intelligence-looking behavior can emerge from pattern matching without any internal experience or understanding. Because now you know that when ChatGPT answers your question, it's not thinking about your question or understanding your needs. It's predicting word sequences based on statistical patterns in text. You can't unknow it. So next time you interact with AI and it feels like you're talking to something intelligent, ask yourself, am I seeing actual thinking? Or am I seeing incredibly sophisticated pattern matching that produces thinking-like outputs? Because once you see that AI is basically the world's most advanced autocomplete, predicting likely continuations without understanding anything, those conversations with ChatGPT stop feeling like talking to an emerging consciousness and start feeling like what they actually are. Interacting with mathematical models that happen to be really, really good at mimicking the surface patterns of human intelligence.